Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over sheet cuts and how to make them and size them and such. And so with starting off is we have a design in model space, and this is a huge project. And so, we are lucky that we're able to actually do the design as one whole project. So this is out of this bigger project, this package is broken down to just this streetscapes right here. But even though it's a streetscape, you can see at a reasonable scale that it's going to take up multiple sheets. So these are match lines, and in drawings, these match lines shows up what each viewport can contain. So here's another match line. So this is one viewport, another viewport, another viewport, another viewport, another viewport. So multiple viewports. You can have multiple viewports on a sheet. So these, I think, are going to be two on a sheet. They'll be stacked on top of each other. But some are just one viewport per sheet. So now we go over to our Paperspace, our tab here, and you can see we have our sheet. It looks like a big sheet of paper. And then you can see here, this is, when I zoom in here, is our sheet, our viewports. So as I said, here's that first one, and then there's the match line. And then where that one ends, we pick up, and here's another match line for our second viewport. So our title block, and then this is the key map that tells them in the project where you're located. So we're on the far left side of the project. Always want to have your scale in your north arrow. And then we just keep working away on our project. So next set of sheets. Next set of sheets. More sheets. Finally, we get to the end of the project here. And then we get into this is our legends and our details. So this is all of our legend items, so what each symbol equals, all of our notes that we have to have on the plan. So some people, they will actually put this all in model space, and then they do viewports in. Again, I think I mentioned before, I'm all about anything that is to be shown in Paperspace that's not design should actually be put on the sheet. It allows it to be much cleaner, your drawing. So then when this gets then passed on, it doesn't clutter up the model space. Next, for us, these are the calculations. So this is like our Excel documents brought in. These are our details, and actually these are water district details. So these are actually PDFs that are brought in and shown on the plans. This one has a pump, so this is pump specifications. And then this, since this is for the county, they have their own details. So instead of blocks, these are PDFs, and we just paste them in. More PDFs of the details. And finally, the last. So I know I've said the analogy before, but each page is literally a page in a book. It's no longer a metaphor, it's a reality. So this book is the plan set, and each page is literally the page that goes to make it up. And so what we do is we just select all of them. So once it's set up, I just select all the sheets. So I just click the first and then held shift and click the end. I hit publish. It's going to ask if I want to make these all into PDF. Click publish. I'm going to say, where do I want to save it? So I'm just going to save it here. And so what you're going to see on this is that it's going to go through, and there's a lot that goes into it, especially with these PDFs on there, but it's going to go through and it's plotting each page into PDFs. So I didn't have you guys watch it for the however long it was taking, 6 minutes to make those. So I paused it, got it. So this is the final PDF. So this is my PDF viewer, Bluebeam. And then from here is then these are each one of the sheets. So it's made it into a PDF. You can see how it nicely plots. And so with this is we then take this and email it to the client, and the client then inserts our individual pages into their plan set, and then it's a big book of landscape, irrigation, civil engineering, architecture, all the different disciplines then all get grouped together, and then this gets sent off to a reprographics company that plots it, or actually a lot of contractors, just because the cost of printing is so high, they've switched to iPads and they just have the PDFs and they've gone all digital. So now I kind of showed you the process, but now overview of it. Now we're going to set it up. So I don't want to save this. So here's a fresh sheet. I don't have anything in here. And here's my first sheet on the drawing. So my first Paperspace. And with this here's my viewport. I'm not going to, in a different one, I'm going to show you how to set up the viewport. But here is setting up the pages. So when I right click, so I'm right clicking, I'm going to go to Page Manager, Page Setup Manager. When I click on that, I have a bunch of defaults in here of what I've created in my template. But let's say I'm going to show you, right now it's set up to PDF 30 by 42. But I'm going to show you when I change it, what's going to happen. So I'm changing it to 24 by 36. So I'm going to set that one current, which it is, and close. And now you can see that it shrunk the paper size here. And then if I were to print it, you can see it only printed to the paper size. I'm getting it cut off. So you can do everything from 8.5 by 11, any custom sheets, all the way 30 by 42, if not bigger. So now I'm going to go back to Page Manager Setup, and I'm going to show you how to create one from scratch. So I'm going to call this New, and I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call it PDF. Let's see, 30 by 42 exclamation point. I'm doing that so it's just different from my previous one. The most common sizes that we deal with is 30 by 42. You can fit a lot in there. Next common is 24 by 36. Smaller, so you can't fit as much on the sheet. Usually not as desirable, but a lot of agencies require 24 by 36. And then if you get really small, 11 by 17 and 8.5 by 11. So here, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to say, what plotter do we want to use. So if you had an actual printer in here, like my Epson, you could select that. But if you're just doing PDFs, just select DWG to PDF.PC3. PC3 is just what they call their print drivers. So then we can choose what paper size we want. So this was 24 by 36. And there's a whole lot. You get into, it says like millimeters, inches. So if we go, what did I say? This is 30 by 42. So find 30 by 42 on the list. Next important thing is I want all these to be 0 on the plot offset. I don't want it offset. Now next is it can be the display. So the display is what the display shows. I rarely ever use display. Extent is everything on your plan. So even if you have things that hang over your drawing, extents will then include it. Layout is just the paper space, just the white. So even if there's things outside of the white. And then window is, I create a window of whatever I want it to be. Center of the plot is, you can see up here, it's just in the corner, but if I hit center plot, it then will put whatever window I did and put it exactly in the center. Then if I was gonna do fit to paper, I could then, it basically does a scale. But most of the time you don't want to fit it to, because you have a specific scale on your drawing. So, but that's what that button does. I'm going to turn this stuff off. And you can see here, it reset these offsets. So I'm going to just zero out all this stuff real quick. Go back to 1 to 1. And then I'm just going to go layout. And then we've talked about plot styles a little bit. So this is where I choose what my plot style is. So I have my own plot style that makes sure my colors print how they want. And then if you want it portrait or landscape. And so then now I've set it up. Okay. And then select it. And now when I double clicked it, you can see that everything fits. So now, let's say I want to add another sheet. I like this sheet. I can go to move or copy on here. And then I don't really use the move function, but I create the copy. So you click the copy box and it's going to duplicate what you had. So you can see here. So this is identical. So if I take, let's say, this stuff off, you can see that there's a difference between the two. If I want to rename it, I could right click and do rename, or I could just double click and say DET for details. If I wanted to start one from scratch, I could just quickly hit the plus button and it's going to do a default. If I don't like it, I can just delete it. Say delete. And then I'm going to finish the video there for that, and we'll pick it up in the next one.